Hi everyone, Jacques here, the Inspired Piper. It's been a heck of a while since I've done a video and I've kind of missed it. And I had an idea that I wanted to talk to a fellow pipe smoker and someone I've never met in person, but we started chatting on Facebook on the Pipe Smoker, was it the Gentleman's Pipe Smoking Society? And I was this close to him last year when I moved to Ireland. I was hoping at one point I could jump over to the UK and have a real life person-to-person smoke with him, but it never turned out. Of course, I came back to Canada. So actually, this is a transatlantic call. I'm sitting in southern Quebec in Canada, and our guest is sitting in England somewhere. And I got to know him because about 2 years ago, I put together this book about pipe smokers from around the world. And by virtue of his first name, our guest, Dominic, was the first pipe smoker featured in the book. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dominic Allen.
Hi.
Where are you in the UK exactly? Whereabouts?
East Anglia.
Okay, to Canadian.
East Anglia, which is it's where a lot of the American air bases were from the Second World War onwards, really.
Okay.
So we're on the bump that sticks out on the right-hand side at the bottom half of the country, if that makes sense.
Okay. So in the southeast of the island.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a very rural area. So there's surrounded by farmland, which is nice. And personally, where I live, we've got the sea is 15 minutes away.
Nice.
River is 10 minutes away. And we're surrounded by forest and field, so we kind of get the best of all worlds.
Yes, I do actually see a lot of your pictures that you post on Facebook. I mean, I think, yeah, you and I are connected, as friends as well on Facebook, not just in the pipe smoking groups. And yeah, you take some beautiful shots, actually. I love your post-processing. It's not just raw pictures. So you do a lot of nice stuff.
No, you're very kind. Some people get really annoyed about it because they say it's not purist, but I don't care.
Well, if they get annoyed, they can just keep scrolling. They don't have to be annoyed.
Absolutely.
Right? So I enjoy them. They're very beautiful rural shots. And honestly, they make me miss Ireland. I was there for just 5 months last year. We had moved there and hopefully things were going to work out. They didn't. The job didn't turn out. Pandemic hit, but threw a wrench in the plans and we ended up coming back to Canada. But I did love, quote unquote, the old country. And,
absolutely. Well, I'm half Irish, so I would have enjoyed coming over to see you, actually. But my father's side is from Belfast, so Northern Ireland, slightly different, but that's my heritage.
Yeah, we loved everything. We loved everything about Ireland. We loved the scenery. We loved the people, the music, of course. Our biggest surprise, I got to say, was the food. Oh my God, the food was amazing. The dairy products, the cheese, the butter, the milk, like nothing I've ever had. And a lot of people, when I was getting ready to move to Ireland, were saying, "Oh, Europe, it's very expensive. Ireland's expensive." And food-wise, I found it much less expensive than what we were paying here in Canada. And
I hear what you're saying also about the flavour. I spent a couple of years in California in a different life, and I just remember being very disappointed with the dairy produce. So things like cheeses and the butters and milk, 1% milk. What's that? That's not milk.
The closest I've been able to find, I mean, the most, the creamiest milk we have here in Quebec and Canada is 3.25%. And I came back from Ireland and it all tasted like water to me. Now I found,
exactly.
Yeah, and I found one now.
There's no grass in your milk.
I found one now that makes 3.8, and it's okay. That's what I'm into now because it's the closest I've found to the Irish milk. But yeah, the food over there just stunned us. It was fairly inexpensive compared to what we're used to, and the quality was amazing. So, on to pipe smoking, sir. So, how long you been smoking pipes?
Actually, I first smoked a pipe probably 25 years ago, but it was a brief flirtation, and I'd been a cigarette smoker and rolled my own cigarettes for years, and I think the transition from smoking cigarettes to going to a pipe, I hadn't really embraced it particularly. The reason I wanted to was because my grandfather used to smoke a pipe, but I'll talk about that a bit later.
Right.
And I tried it, and it was okay, but I didn't really get on with it, so I then set it aside and forgot about it. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I was clearing some stuff out, and I found a photograph of my grandfather sitting on a boat smoking his pipe.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, okay, I wonder. I'll just dabble again.
Let's try that again.
And I've kind of embraced the whole thing over the course of the last several years. And I remember he had one pipe. Somehow or other, I now have over 300. I'm not sure how that happened.
And when I buy another one, my wife goes, "You already have about a dozen pipes." I go,
and they all look the same.
And they all, yeah, unbelievable.
But that was the trick, though. That was the trick. While I was still married, because obviously it's cost me a marriage. But while I was still married, I worked out that if I got sandblast pipes that were dark in colour, then I could smuggle as many of them into the house as I wanted to, because every time she looked in the cabinet, they all looked exactly the same. She couldn't tell any difference. So right. I've got an awful lot of sandblast and rustified pipes.
No, I know, right? It's a dangerous hobby, and there was a funny meme going around on the pipe smoking groups recently about it was pointing up saying something to the effect that this group here is encouraging my expenses in pipe smoking and tobacco and my addiction to it, and these fools support it, kind of thing. All the comments, but it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole. I've been personally more attracted, like I've got about 12, 15 pipes now, nothing compared to you or some other gentleman out there, but I love exploring the different blends of tobaccos. That attracts me more than the going after pipes. And I'm sure, sorry, I'm sure I'll buy more pipes down the road, obviously. But I think I suffer more from the TAD than PAD at this point, the tobacco acquisition disorder. And it's enjoyable. And, I keep going on tobacco reviews, reading some of the reviews, and I'm amazed by some of these guys who distinguish all these aromas and flavors. Oh, I taste bread and followed by figs. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I taste tobacco. It's a different, each blend has a different experience.
I agree entirely. I mean, unfortunately, just after I got struck down with a dreadful case of PAD, as I thought I was recovering, the second wave came in, and I got caught up with a horrible disposition of TAD. So now I have cabinets. Every time I open a drawer somewhere, there's more tobacco. I've got probably 200 or 300 different blends of tobacco spread liberally around the house, which is, again, probably the reason why I'm not married anymore.
No. Yes, but then nobody stands in your way. As much pipes and as much tobacco as you want. So your grandfather was the influence. Do you remember being around him and smelling the pipe tobacco? Is that what kind of brought you back?
Yeah, absolutely. It's annoying because I was hunting around to find the photograph, and I put it up. It's always on display, and it's obviously fallen down behind something. But in the picture that I've got, he was smoking one of these.
Oh, okay.
Which I then find, which is a peacemaker, so similar to the Falcons in as much as you can take them apart. But the pipe that he was smoking in the photograph was absolutely identical to that. And so I hunted that down, and that took me a while, because I just remember as a kid him going outside, standing outside the back door, and the smell of the tobacco smoke coming in. His particular blend of tobacco that he smoked was this. You see that?
Yes.
Which is cut golden bar, and it's a combination, and I think it's red Virginia. It's a couple two Virginias anyway as a blend. So I found the tin as well, and then what I was lucky enough to do is I managed to find someone who had some of the original tobacco from 1969.
Wow.
So I've combined the pipe with the tobacco with the tin. I only have a very, very small amount of it, so I treat myself to a pipe in his memory on his birthday once a year.
Nice. How do you keep it? You keep it jarred? How do you keep the moisture?
I keep it in a one of these. What do you call it? Ziploc bag.
Okay, right.
and also in an airtight jar. I just decanted it today just to show you the tin with the tobacco in. But now I keep all the tobaccos that I have that are opened are in either Ziplocs or in doubled up and in kilner jars or airtight jars. So it's a lot more takes up much more space than if I just had 200 or 300 stamps. I'd be fine. 200 or 300 tobaccos, different picture altogether.
It's insane, eh? We never stop wanting to explore, and there are just so many of them. It's crazy. So I was just rereading your responses for the book, and you're a fan of Virginias and Vapors, as am I. I think they're my favorite go-to tobaccos. Did you start like most pipe smokers seem to do, is start with aromatics?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a tobacconist, so there's a few things. I mean, I bought my first pipe that I bought was this one.
Okay.
Which I bought secondhand from somebody, and it's a Gema.
Okay.
So it's a metal frame thing, but it's all space age construction.
Yeah. Pretty modern looking.
Yeah, it's if you it's strange. It's got like a ceramic insert. And all this metal on there. And if you unscrew this, there's a filter that goes in there.
Okay.
And it's a great smoke. But so I'll answer your question directly. So I bought that first of all as a second-hand pipe, and then decided I want to go and buy a new pipe.
Oh.
So I went to the tobacconist, and I bought this thing.
Oh, nice.
Which is Savinelli, big beat. Travel around the world with me, this has.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful smoke. But while I was there, I then said to them, because I had previously just gone to the supermarket and bought an over-the-counter tobacco. So while I was buying the pipe, I said, any chance you can point me in the direction of what sort of tobaccos I should be smoking? Of course, they asked how long I've been smoking, which wasn't long, at which point they then wheeled out the aromatics. So yeah, I did start on aromatics, but it only lasted about 2 weeks before I thought, you know what, I'm fed up with this taste of black cherry in my mouth. I need something different, at which point I then started to explore and moved quite quickly into Latakia.
Okay.
Which ironically now I can't stand. I barely smoke anything with Latakia.
Really? It's yeah, I get it. I discovered Latakia probably through another fellow pipe smoker who lives up in Edmonton, or no, Grand Prairie, Alberta, who sent me a sample of Boswell Northwoods, which has Latakia in it. And I was like, yeah, and it's nice. It was like, oh, this is interesting. I had been, I think like you, focused on Virginias and Vapors, and same, started with aromatics. Hobbit's Weed was the mix that I probably started with and enjoyed. And for some reason, I kept looking for flavors. I tried Molto Dolce, the vanilla one.
Molto Dolce,
yeah. And the first tin I bought was like, yeah, okay, this is nice, vanilla and beautiful, and it was like, okay. But then the second one, I ordered another one. And by the time I got around to it, it was like, oh, no, this is just too sweet. And I found myself, I think like a lot of guys, just moving away from aromatics and going, in my case, in your case, towards Virginias and Vapors. And I'm still not a huge fan of Latakia. I know some of the pipe smokers out there, they're like, that's their go-to, man. They're the more Latakia, the better. I'm not. I'm starting to enjoy it a little more. Actually, I just bought one recently. I went out and ordered a couple of different tins, and I ordered this one, GLP's Westminster.
Okay, yeah.
See with the light there, but that's got a bit of Latakia in it, and I do like. I believe it has Noble Cypress Mountain Latakia, yeah. But it's not overwhelming, and I'm enjoying this. I'm very much enjoying this. So,
well, that's a similar thing. Is that you asked what sort of tobaccos I like. And I've just said I don't really smoke Latakia at all. However, one of my favourite tobaccos is that.
Oh,
can you see that?
Yeah, Germain's Special Latakia Flake. Yeah.
Okay, but the Latakia takes a really back seat.
Okay.
So it's not like some of the like pirate cake.
I've not had that.
Pirate cake. You haven't smoked that?
No. No,
Like,
because everybody keeps talking about how that's like probably the strongest Latakia blend, and I'm still not into it enough.
I always describe it, and you'll appreciate this. I always describe it as being like being hit in the face with a hot Irish navvy's shovel.
Okay, never tried that either.
Just awful. It's just awful. People love it, but it just tastes like you're eating road.
So, what's what I will call your desert island tobacco blend? Like, if you were stuck on a desert island and for the rest of your life you only had one blend, what would your current one be?
It would probably be Revor Plug.
Okay, never tried.
That I can honestly say to you it's worth the investment if you can get hold of it. I don't know what it's like in Canada or the States. If you can't, I can probably send you some. It is very highly regarded. Obviously, you're a member of the UK PTC.
Yes.
It's very highly regarded there. Can't remember who introduced me to it, but it's as an ex-cigarette smoker, it's got a decent nick hit, vitamin N.
Okay.
Very, very pleasantly flavored, but you know you've been smoking it.
Mm.
It's unlike a lot of plugs in that it's very easy to prepare. It almost crumbles apart when you cut it. Not like a crumble cake, but not dissimilar, because as you slice through it, it literally falls apart, and then you don't even really need to rub it out to put it straight into the pipe.
And it's what, Virginia's?
Yeah, it's Virginia's, yeah. And it's I'll have to send you some. Yeah, and I've sent it to a few people who have then since cursed me because they either haven't been able to get it or they've just had to go out and buy as much of it as they can possibly get. But that's it's worth looking up on tobacco reviews.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Revor, Revor.
Yes, and I think you actually mentioned it in the book. I keep coming back to, if I had one that I was going to get stuck with, the one I keep coming back would be the good old Orlik Golden Slice.
No, I agree. I like that. I have a few tins of it tucked away.
Nice.
Unfortunately, they've bitten the dust.
Smell. Yeah. And along the same lines, and Solani, Golden Flake, the 633 blend. Yeah. Nice Virginia flake as well, mild, and you get that nice sort of fresh hay grass, fresh cut grass kind of smell to it. I know you laughed at this one because you called it the old Codgers blend, but I do like this as well.
It's good. It's good. I've actually I've got some new St. Bruno. I've got the flake and also the ready rub, but I managed to get hold of a whole batch of 1980s St. Bruno flake. Well, oh my goodness, that's a different experience. Let me tell you. I've only got a tiny little bit left, and I tend to use it and blend it with the new St. Bruno.
Okay.
But it just gives different nuance to the whole smoke. It's really good.
Well, I remember the first time I opened the tin, and I can't remember why I tried this one. You might have mentioned it somewhere, or I can't remember. I ordered, and maybe it's a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, I ordered my first tin of St. Bruno, and when I first cracked it open and I took a whiff, it was like, is it vinegar? Am I smelling vinegar? And the tobacco, and I'm like, I loved it. I was like, oh my God, what a tin aroma. I loved it. And I find that more recent tins have not had that vinegar aroma as much, but reading up on it, there was some kind of vinegar in the concoction to preserve it or something. I do quite enjoy it.
That's the same as the ketchup you get from the obviously demise now. Is it not McClellan?
McClellan brand?
They're still around, aren't they? Who did the Frog Morton?
Yeah, McClellan.
Yeah.
It was before my time, unfortunately. I've never had the pleasure of smoking.
With a lot of their blends, big ketchup smell when you open the tin.
Oh, yeah.
There's obviously something that they add in there, which is similar with the vinegary smell. It's some kind of a life to prolong the life of the tobacco.
Mm-hmm. Well, my last order was, and sometimes I'll order blends I really know and like to stock up on it. Presbyterian Mixture is one I enjoy very much as well. That's got
that has got Latakia in it, though, doesn't it?
A little bit, but I find, to me, again, I'll come back to what I said earlier. I can't distinguish taste the way some people do. Like in tobacco reviews, I read and I'm like, bread, figs, plums, whatever, all these different things, and I'm like,
I'm sure they make it up just to make people like you.
I don't know, but I guess my taste buds are just not as evolved. But anyways, my last order was, no, I want to try a bunch of new stuff. So Westminster was one of them. I was very curious about GLPs. He writes a lot and seems to be well recognized. And then I wanted something with not quite an aroma, but something with a bit of liquor in it. So rum, I was looking for rum or something. And I came across, again, GLP's Navigator.
I haven't tried that.
And it's a strong one. I personally don't get a ton of rum out of it. And it's just, they say it's just cased, right? It's not like soaking in it, and which is fine. It's a nice one. It's a strong blend for me anyways, and I enjoy it. The other one I ordered was actually, well, Cornell and Deal make the GLP's blends, but so I ordered this one because I'd heard about it as well, Briar Fox.
Yes.
Which is a plug. And I'm surprised, I'm really enjoying this one. This is a beautiful mild tobacco. This is very strong. Never been a fan of Burley, and I believe there is, Virginian Burley in there. And I've tried Burley before. I can't. But this one, I said,
have you heard of the blender John Patton?
Who?
John Patton?
No.
I'll have to send you some. I've got some Burley blends that are, well, some of them are mixed with cigar leaf as well, and I'm not a cigar smoker.
No.
And the tobaccos that he has turned out, I think Warhorse is one of them. Just absolutely incredible. If you don't like Burley, I don't think it will matter to you, because the way that he blended it, it's just a fantastic smoke. I'll put some together for you and send it out. Cool. But it's worthwhile having a look on tobacco reviews again for John Patton. I think it's spelt like General.
General, man. But the Briar Fox, I'm very much enjoying. It's a plug. I got to break it down. It was my first experience with a cake or plug, whatever. And very easy to pull apart, and I let it dry just a little bit, and it's been a beautiful smoke, very mild. But there's one that I've kept that I've not opened yet. I ordered these other three in this particular one. I didn't open this one yet because I wanted to open it during our call, because you spoke highly of this one and you recommended it strongly to me in one of our chats. And that is, I don't know if you see.
I can't see it.
Union Square.
Union Square, yeah. What a lovely tobacco.
Yeah, so you recommended this one highly to me, so it's still closed, and so I'm gonna crack it open.
I'll be interested to see what you think when you first smell it.
And take a whiff of it, and then after our call, I'm going to go outside for a walk and smoke one, and I'll let you know how it goes. But I love the color of it, obviously. Nice. Oh, a nice flake. So for those who have not seen it, it's looking like this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh, yeah. That's nice. And I don't know if I smell figs or bread or whatever, but it does kind of have that typical sort of, I call it fresh cut grass of Virginia's.
Goldfish and carrots.
Who?
I said it's goldfish and carrots. It may as well be.
So this will be my next bowl, and I'll record a quick video after of my first bowl and put it as part of the video at the end. But yes, I've been looking forward to chatting with you and cracking this one open. It does smell beautiful. That'll be
quite complex. I enjoyed it. There's quite a few different levels to it as you burn through the bowl. It's I think you'll enjoy it. Let me grab some. You tried that?
Original warehouse blend, Nashville County. Nope, I've never heard of that one.
This is probably my favorite Virginia.
Okay.
Something I can pop it open. And you talk about grass and meadows, and it's just incredible. Very difficult for us to get hold of here in the UK. I don't know whether you'll be able to see in there actually.
Okay, so it's like a rubbed out. It's not a flake.
Yeah, it's like it's a flake, but it's a very broken flake.
Okay.
You get that sort of hit of vinegar, which we talked about before, but as a smoke, that's probably, to me, it's the purest Virginia that I've actually had. But again, I have to treat it with caution because we can't get it over here. So I think you and I might need to discuss a trade of some.
Yes.
But yeah, Nashville County, look that up. You won't regret that at all.
Still made today?
Sorry?
It's still made today?
Still made today, yeah. I mean, my app problem is just literally getting hold of tobaccos over here. My other favourite, which I'm sure you will have had, I've got 2 tins of it here, is...
Oh, yes. I do have a couple of tins of that, and every now and then...
Well, I've got that.
Yes. Love that.
And then I've got that. So this one here,
yeah,
is from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And that's a new one.
That's a new one.
Let me see if I can get these open.
I do love Escudo, and every now and then I get a hankering for it. I don't have one cracked open right now, but
after Revor, it's probably my favorite tobacco, I would think.
Escudo?
Absolutely, yeah, Escudo is just fantastic. But it's interesting. It smells just amazing. It's funny because I'm about to show you inside the tins. So that's the old one. And it's quite amazing because if I show you, can you see the difference in color?
The one on your left, in your left hand, seems darker on the screen. Yeah.
It's basically the smell. This is one of the only ones where we were just talking about stewed plums and everything else. You smell it and you just get that hit of fruit. I think there is a topping on it, but with the Virginia and with the and as a vapor, it's just a fantastic smoke. But the difference in smoke between one from the 80s and one from a year and a half, 2 years ago is incredible. But what is also incredible is the fact that you just picked the one on the left as a darker one. That has aged in the tin over the course of the last year and a half, because actually this one is much darker. I don't know whether I can show you with individual roundels.
Probably just the lighting coming off the window.
Yeah, that's not great here. This is dark. That's not separating very well. Look. So this is the newer one.
Okay.
And that is the older one.
Looks much more densely packed, doesn't it?
Incredible. Incredible. But the interesting thing is that the newer one is catching it up.
Really?
In a very short space of time. Yeah, it's darkening. And I mean, they're a real treat to smoke, to be honest with you. Yep. Beautiful tobacco.
I find for Virginia, it has a bit more perique in it, so I find there's a bit more spiciness to it, right? And but I do enjoy it, and every now and then, yeah, I gotta crack out a tin.
So, what does your wife think about you smoking?
Well, we've only been together for 6 years, and when she started, and I was living out in Western Canada at the time, and when she first came for a visit before moving there with me, and eventually we got married in 2018, but she saw my pipe, and I smoked every now and then. I had maybe 1 or 2 pipes, 1 blend of tobacco, because, you know, in my previous marriage, my previous life, it was not appreciated at all, so I didn't really smoke. But I kind of started again after when I was alone, and she comes along and she says, "Oh my God, you smoke pipe?" And I go, "Yeah, is that a problem?" She goes, "No, I love pipe. My dad used to smoke pipe," and, you know, the whole reminiscing thing, and she loved it. And I think one of her greatest lines is we were out taking a stroll and I was smoking my pipe and she was just moving around me, just trying to get the whiff of the pipe. She loved it. And she goes, how did she send that to me? She goes, why? She looks at me, she goes, why do you do everything I like? And I looked at her and I said, well, why do you like everything I do? You know, it was the start of a beautiful friendship.
A
And
match made in heaven.
and so I started so with, you know, now knowing that I kind of had, she was okay with it and even enjoyed it. We'd be out on the deck in the back and I'd light up a bowl and she'd actually move her chair around so she could be downwind from me and be able to smell it. And so at one point I'm smoking a pipe and she's sitting beside me and she actually takes the pipe from me and she takes a puff and she goes, ooh, that's nice. You know, and guess what? Now she owns 3 pipes and every now and then she'll join me in smoking a pipe. So she's absolutely for it, and she enjoys the smell. She enjoys the, I think like a lot of us, she just enjoys the downtime and the quiet of smoking a pipe. There's nothing about pipe smoking that you can rush, you know?
It's a very different different experience just smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And it's noticeable. It's funny because where I work as myself, my business partner, and then a friend of ours who owns the building that we're in has a business downstairs. And we used to meet, 11 o'clock in the morning, we'd have a coffee and we'd have a cigarette. And then I decided I was going to come off the cigarettes and I'd go on to pipe smoking. And I'd go down and I'd meet them at 11 o'clock in the morning. And by the time I got the pipe alight and it was burning just right,
they were done.
They'd disappear off. And I'm like, oh, that's no fun. Now I've got 45 minutes here by myself. What's going on?
And do you find you always have to be busy when you're smoking a pipe? Do you have to have a book on, or are you surfing social media, or do you sometimes just sit and smoke and no distraction?
I mean, I like to listen to radio. I listen to radio a lot, or podcasts, and I like to read, and it works quite well with that. Sometimes, as you say, it's nice to just pack a pipe, tuck yourself off. I've got quite a nice rustic garden, so I can tuck myself away and just sit there and, puff on the pipe, listen to the birds, think about nothing at all, and very fall asleep.
And then it got me wondering at one point, because I was doing exactly that. I was sitting outside, just, watching the countryside and smoking a pipe. And I just thought, my God, when do people do that anymore today? And I don't mean smoking a pipe. I mean, just stop and be alone with yourself and think and let things sink in. No distractions, no reading, no social media, no noise. Just be alone with our thoughts. And who does that anymore today? And I think as pipe smokers, I think we do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I noticed that you post a few pictures of you out walking while you're smoking, or lunting while you're smoking pipe.
Yeah.
And I tried that, and I tried it, and I tried it, and it doesn't work for me. I burn it too quickly.
Yes.
And so I'll light a pipe, and I smoke fairly quickly anyway.
Yes.
I can
with that. Yeah.
I can sit down and get an hour or so out of a good sized pipe without any problem. But because I smoke quite hard, when you're then walking and you're puffing and the wind's blowing, 5 minutes into the walk, I'm going pipe, and I'm like, there's nothing there. Where's it gone? And I just couldn't get on with it. So I tend to just
hits you. Yeah, the nicotine just hits you much harder too, right? And
well, as an cigarette smoker, I don't really notice the tobacco. I think I had hiccups once. I'm trying to think what the hell it was I was smoking. I think it might have been a twist. Tobacco, a black twist or something. And I did get the hiccups. A bit like when you eat really hot chili.
Yeah, I do enjoy lunting, but I do have to be careful because I think, like you, I'm a heavy puffer. I think I smoke too fast. I burn too hot. I'm practicing these days what they refer to as the breath method or the breathing method, and that is slowing me down. I have to be very conscious now if I go lunting with my pipe. I have to be conscious to slow down, to slow down my cadence. And I think the breath method serves me well, especially when I'm out walking. And I'm
Maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's the trick.
yeah, yeah. I think that makes a huge difference. But yeah, it's just slowing down. And as you know, I was just watching again one of Mutton Chop Piper's videos recently, and he was just saying what you want to do is you don't want to have a ton of smoke. That's not the aim. Is you want to coax that flavor out of the tobacco. And he's right. You got to slow down and puff slowly and sip, right? And it's just, and then maybe eventually I'll taste the figs and the bread and
No, it's goldfish, remember, and carrots.
the goldfish and carrots.
The only bit of the lunching I like is when I've actually got to the pub and then I can sit in the pub and smoke it slowly with a pint of Guinness or whatever.
Oh, that'd be great. But yeah, there's no question about doing that here in Canada. I mean, even in outdoor terraces, we can't smoke, you know, so.
Well, interesting. So we were talking earlier about the Latakia and about the fact that I used to smoke it and then all of a sudden I went off it. Actually, when you and I first came into contact, I was just getting married, I think, and we'd gone out to Australia for the honeymoon.
Right.
And I took with me a pipe, which was this one. Tobacco in Australia is so expensive.
Like here.
I mean, well, if I say to you, I was allowed to take 50 grams into the country, and I was in Australia for a month. So I was allowed to take 1 tin of tobacco with me, and they would let that through customs. So I took Latakia Flake with me by McBaron. And the heat, smoking over there. So I ended up smoking all that, and I had to get some more tobacco. I went to a tobacconist there, and I wanted to get a 50-gram tin, and it was $100. And I couldn't believe it. I had to do it because I didn't have anything else to smoke, and I still had 2.5 weeks to be out there. I can't remember what I bought, but anyway, it was another Latakia product. The heat out there, they had one of their hottest summers for the last 100 years. So it was 55 in the shade. Before that, we stopped off at Singapore for 3 days. Well, I don't know if you've been to Singapore.
No.
The humidity there is just ridiculous. And we had booked a hotel room that had an outside private garden, which looked beautiful. So that I would be able to sit there and have a smoke if I wanted to. I couldn't smoke it because I packed the pipe, went outside, and the humidity, the tobacco just sucked the humidity out. So I was still puffing away trying to get something out of this thing. Then I went to Australia. Then it was 55, and I was smoking this Latakia. And of course, here we've discussed already how you have a multiplicity of blends. So any day I can think, I'll have a Virginia, or I'll have a vapor, or I'll try one of the plugs, or I'll try a flake. You've got all this option. So there's not many days when I would smoke the same tobacco on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Exactly.
You try and do that over the course of a month, and the heat was so bad and the humidity was so bad. I got to the end of our month away, and I didn't smoke anything with Latakia in it for another 2 years. I couldn't even bear the smell of it.
I can imagine.
Just come down off it now.
That would be a heavy blend to smoke when it's hot because, I mean, we get cold. I mean, over the weekend here in Canada, where I am in southern Canada, I wake up on Saturday, Sunday morning, it was minus 24 Celsius. Like it's cold.
That's chilly.
So a Latakia blend in weather like this is nice. It's warm. It's that campfire smell. But in the summer when it's hot and we'll hit 30, 35 degrees Celsius, I don't want to smoke Latakia. I'll go for the lighter Virginias, and that just seems much more summery.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake on my part.
Yeah, it's stupid expensive. I know there's a few folks on some of the pipe smoking groups, and they'll pipe up every now and then, the Aussies, and go, oh, you have no idea how expensive it is here too. And Canada's not quite as expensive, but maybe if I'd find the 50-gram tin like Orlick or whatever, I'd be paying easy 50 Canadian.
And how does that equate to English pounds?
Yeah.
How does 50 convert to English pounds? Would you know?
I don't know. I don't know the exchange rate, so I'm not familiar with pounds at all. So, but so let's say 45 to 50 Canadian for 50 grams,
What about
and
euros? Euros.
euros it'd probably be around so 1 by 4 about I don't know, I want to say 30, about 30 euros.
You pay 30 euros, do you?
No, I don't. I order online, and I end up paying about, on average,
Nine.
I order online, I pay about anywhere from
$9.
10 to 12 US dollars, which is maybe whatever, $15 for us, 15 Canadian dollars or so. But still, because at 45, $50 a tin, there's no way I could sell her the way I do and smoke the way I do.
No, impossible. I mean, it amazes me how people smoke cigars, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they're paying 15, 20 pounds, so $25, $30 for a cigar, they get one smoke out of it. I just don't understand.
I'll enjoy a cigar every couple of years, but I'm not a big fan. Never touched a cigarette in my life, but yeah, this is nice. The pipe smoking, I enjoy it as well.
Very different experience, I have to say.
It is.
And the important thing is slowing down. I mean, I know a lot of people that I know use it as a tool. They'll be working, doing something, and they'll have the pipe be hanging out the side of their mouth, and they'll be doing something, and they'll just chuck it down, they'll pick it up, and they'll puff away, and they'll do whatever. And I can't do that. I need to just sit down and relax, and treat it for what it is, really.
It is. It's a beautiful. And I think a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people express the same thought, that it's a great stress reduction. Now, how do you feel about, and I know all the anti-tobacconists are all over this, it's tobacco, it's bad for you, it's going to kill you. And then nicotine is an addictive chemical. I mean, okay, maybe medically, but how? I can go days without smoking and I'm not climbing the walls. If it were
okay, well, I'll give you a perfect example. Going back to the Australia trip.
Yeah.
So I was smoking cigarettes, and the flight from here to Sydney was 25 hours. It was actually 26 hours, but we were 25 hours in the sky. And there is no way I could have lasted without having a cigarette. However, I stopped smoking cigarettes prior to going to Australia. Didn't faze me at all.
Right.
If I smoked a pipe when I got off, well, I just didn't. It didn't bother me. I had no cravings whatsoever. Right. And when I was in Australia, there were days I didn't carry it around with me. Whereas previously, as a cigarette smoker, if I'd left the house and gone somewhere and gone, I didn't bring my tobacco pouch, it would have driven me mad.
Yeah.
But pipe smoking, there's nothing there that makes you addicted to it at all. It's a habit potentially, but not an addiction.
Not an addiction. I agree. I mean, I've seen cigarette smokers, if they don't get their fix every couple of hours, man, they start shaking. I get a cold, I won't touch a pipe for a week or two, and
exactly the same.
I miss the whole action and the whole process of picking a pipe and the tobacco and packing it and smoking it. But it's like, I'm not shaking, I'm not climbing the walls, I'm not like, I need tobacco, it's like, so I'm not convinced about
I always say, and other people say the same thing, it's a hobby, not a habit.
Yes. Well,
and that's that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
It's different to cigarette smoking it's a necessity. When you're a cigarette smoker, you have to have it. When you're a pipe smoker, you don't. It's I mentioned stamp collecting early on. It's like collecting stamps actually, but maybe a little bit more social in certain circumstances, and a bit more relaxing, and a bit more fun. And there's more things you can collect.
Yes.
When you think about all. I've got this. I've got my Tampa collection as well. That's a 1920s Art Deco.
Wow.
Tampa.
Nice.
I've got my one of my little. This is a pipe stand. I don't know whether you can read that.
Cutty Sark. Yeah. Wow.
So that's part of the timber from the original Cutty Sark.
Nice.
And it's just nice to, you can go out and you can pick up all these little accoutrements and bits and pieces, and then realise I'm on cabinet number 5 now. How did that happen?
I know. Well, that's all right. It's our pride and joy. Keeps us out of trouble, slows us down, makes us think.
Absolutely.
I think it makes us, we're okay.
Makes it more interesting.
It is. It is. And
How many times have you sat down when you were in Ireland? You sat down at a pub and smoked a pipe, and people walk past and gone, "Oh, it reminds me of my grandfather. Oh,
well,
it reminds me of my. Oh, I love that smell."
like I said, we can't do that here in Canada. Inside a pub or outside a pub. Even if there's a terrace, we couldn't smoke outside a pub.
You
But
were okay in Ireland, though, weren't you?
in Ireland, I think outside you could smoke. But I got there last February, and in March they closed everything. So never got to have that experience. I would have loved to sit there with a pipe outside and a Guinness, but didn't get the experience because of this pandemic. But
well, pubs here are closed till I think they're saying June, which is just ridiculous. It's only, I mean, I'm not a massive pub goer. I have been in the past, but of late not. But even I'm getting twitchy and thinking, just want to go to the pub. Just want to go to the pub.
But I have had the experience of, having my pipe with me and smoking my pipe and walking down the town, on the street here and just, taking a nice stroll along the main avenue and people will turn around and will react. Oh my God, that smells so good, and reminds me of my dad, reminds me of my grandfather, all these memories that I think strike a chord with most of us. Your grandfather, in my case, it was my music teacher in high school. They'd come into the music class and just that wonderful aroma of pipe tobacco. So I think it all brings us back to another time, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I won't hold you any longer. It's been a great chat. I'm going to save this and put it up on, I think this is going to get a lot of traction. I think this was a great discussion and, was a great chance to get to know you. You and I have been chatting and commenting on each other's posts for what, about 2-3 years now, easy?
Well, no more than that, near 5.
Really, eh? So, my God.
About 4.5 years. Wow.
Nice. Well, it's
you weren't quite as grey when we started chatting.
Oh, shut up now.
It's a good look, man. It's a good look.
Yeah. It's we're all getting there, and hopefully this pandemic is over soon, and we can get to back to some kind of normal.
So how come you're in? You said you were in lodgings or in a hotel room, or?
No, I'm in a rental now. After we came back from Ireland, we had sold everything in Ireland, right? We had sold our furniture, our vehicles, everything. We had essentially pared our life down to about 30 boxes. And so when we came back, we had nothing. So I had to rent something that was furnished. So I found this beautiful little cottage in southern Quebec, furnished. And, for now, this is home, but probably have to look at a longer term rental within the next couple of months. I'd love to settle down for 2 years at least, and then the plan would be to buy a house at some point. And I think we're going to stay in southern Quebec right now. We're close to family and friends. We miss Alberta. We miss being out in Alberta, but right now the economy has tanked out there, so it's not a good time to be there. Circumstances led to me going back in business, as a self-employed worker, and I'm doing. I've been in IT for 30 years, so decided to just focus on cybersecurity audits for small companies. So the SME market, and so far it's working out well. Business is coming my way, so I can't complain. And working from home.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's we're finally reopening some businesses here next week. We've been under kind of a lot of constraints here for the past month, including a curfew as of 8 p.m. at night till 5 a.m. the next morning. But it's helped. It's actually helped. It's gotten the numbers way down, the number of new cases every day. And next week, our premier announced yesterday that starting next week, businesses can start reopening. Some businesses, actually most businesses, but the curfew is still in effect for at least another 2 weeks, which is fine. At least give the small businesses a chance to breathe and make some income again. And restaurants will not be opening. Restaurants and bars will not be opening. And, and I get it. They're trying to avoid too many people getting together and then just starting to spread again, right?
It's difficult though. I mean, when we had the first lockdown, and I'm self-employed, have been for the best part of 30 years, really. And between the end of March and the end of June, beginning of July, we did £200 worth of business, which is probably about $275 worth of business. That's it. Yeah, because my business is vehicle tracking and mobile communications, and there were no vehicles moving, and people weren't mobile, and they weren't prepared to sign contracts, 12-month or 24-month agreements to get their phones. Our business just fell off a cliff.
That's
And we had a good end to last year, but now we're back in it again. It's the same thing. Now people won't sign contracts. They don't want to take stuff on. I've got a client who, he's been in business as long as I have, but he's a haulier, and he's got 47 vehicles, HGV, so big trucks, and he had 40 of them parked up for 3 months, and he had 7 trucks on the road. He was still paying finance on all the vehicles.
Yeah.
And he said, if this goes on for 3 months, I've got to fold the business. So I'm hoping that we get some kind of light at the end of this tunnel, because
because I don't know, we can't just end up closing thousands of businesses. I mean, people.
We need something to keep us in pipes and tobacco, Jack.
We do.
And on that note.
Yes, on that note, it's been a pleasure, mate. And hope we get to chat again. I'll post this up within a couple of days. And let me know
the link.
For sure. I'll post it on the pipe smoking groups, and hopefully we get some good traction, some comments, and I'm hoping to do some more of these types of interviews with other pipe smokers and share experiences and stuff like that. I think it's great.
Cool, I think so. Listen, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. I hope it wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah.
And catch up with you when you're older.
And what?
I'll catch you when you're older.
You'll catch me when I'm older? Getting there. Listen, you stay safe, man. Stay out of trouble.
Take care of yourself. Take care, Jack.
All right. Ciao. So, as mentioned during our chat, here I am trying out this Union Square. It's lovely. I think I will enjoy this. I might have to go out and buy a few more tins, so thanks for that. Yeah, this is nice. Enjoying this. I got some shoveling to do since we got about 25 to 30 centimeters of snow here in southern Quebec yesterday, so I'm going to get to it and enjoy this bowl. Thanks for the chat, Dominic. Stay well.